This demo is an example of why a stateful firewall alone is not enough, even with a strict firewall policy. First, I will show how an outside attacker can use a client-side exploit to successfully exploit a vulnerable host on the internal network, and then I will show what happens when we insert an IPS in the same network and run the same exploit once more. Here we are looking at a very basic network diagram of a fictitious company called OpenDoor Inc. They have just a stateful firewall deployed with no IPS. The firewall has a very basic configuration. It allows all traffic from the inside network to the outside network, but blocks all traffic coming in from the outside to the inside, except for return traffic for an established session from the inside to the outside. Although I've very much simplified it, this is quite a common stateful firewall setup. On the outside, you can see a host running Backtrack Linux, which will be used by the attacker. Now we are looking at the attacker. He's using Metasploit to launch a client-side attack that exploits a vulnerability in Internet Explorer. In this type of attack, the attacker hosts a web server with malicious code, which is then downloaded to a victim when the victim connects to the web server with a vulnerable browser. Now we are looking at a host on the inside network. Our fictitious employee, John, is opening his email and sees a very enticing message. And unfortunately, he takes the bait and clicks the link. Now our attacker is very happy because he sees the HTTP connection come in from the victim. At this point, malicious code is sent from the Metasploit server to the client using the existing session through the stateful firewall. Once the malware is running on the victim, it can establish more sessions to the Metasploit server and allow the attacker to take complete control over the victim. For example, an attacker can search for any files on the victim with password in the name or any other valuable information. After the company realized that their network was compromised, they decided to insert an IPS module in the firewall. The IPS is configured to inspect all traffic traversing the firewall. Now we'll launch our attack again. Once more, we are following along with the attacker, who's launching the same client-side exploit as before. As you may be able to see, he is using HTTP gzip compression, which may be an attempt to evade detection by IPS. Just like every other morning, OpenDoor employee John is opening his email, and he wants another shot at becoming a billionaire. This time, our attacker is not so happy. The malicious code never got to the host, so no reverse TCP session is established. At the very same time, our security operations team is seeing that the newly installed IPS is reporting that a signature has fired, indicating an attempt to exploit an ActiveX vulnerability. They confirm the IPS dropped the malicious traffic and note the IP address of the attacker.